Welcome. Thank you so much for joining.
Oh, not at all. I'm so happy to be here. Can
I
you
do
believe, by the way, people watching this, that this is the first time that we've physically spoken
actually
to each other?
physically spoken. We talk
And I've
all the
known this
time.
woman for
2 years. It's weird because we've spoken so much, but never actually voices
properly
being heard.
talked.
Yeah, do you have a H on the end of your name?
Yeah, my
Oh,
name
that's
is
fine.
H-A-N-A-H, but from my teenage years, people referred to me as H-A-N-A,
Right.
including my brother, who's obviously our lead developer. So
That's
he
yeah.
likes
When
to
we see it in the map,
write
that's how
in the
it's.
map. He likes to do his own thing. So
Brothers are like they can be annoying. Bless them.
yes,
Many. I have many.
I love them, but
Um,
especially when you work with them.
yeah, that's. I don't think I could work with my brothers. I mean, my
Yeah, I
brothers are
mean,
so
yeah.
different. So different.
We're all very different actually as well. I think that's really beneficial for something like this, particularly at the beginning when we were working out a lot of what we wanted to do with the game. There was a lot of just straight up arguing, you
I
know.
can imagine. So that kind of leads me on to like the first sort of question.
Yeah,
I've got a lot of questions.
go for it.
Watchers was first. And when
Yeah.
did you come on board? Did you come on board with the Watchers or did you come on board with the concept of like then Devour?
So it was really Joe. I mean, actually, it was the two of us. We were having coffee, and he said, "Oh, one of my things on my bucket list is that I'd like to make a game." We talked a lot about what we might do, and that's when we came up with some ideas for the Watchers. And then we brought Luke and Andrew in, and we did that for a year. And that was quite a niche game.
A
Really
bloody hard
apologise.
game.
Played
Very
it. I can't.
hard game.
I
I'm
can't
like,
even finish it myself. So, but
oh,
that was good. It was a good practice. And from that point onwards, we took a little bit of a break and said, okay, we could make something a bit more market friendly.
and did you ever think that you would be so many maps in now when you first started?
We had an idea in our mind that if things went well, if we managed to make any profit or to at least even
Yeah.
break even, and we could do this even part-time, definitely didn't expect all of us to be able to do it full-time. So
I,
it's genuinely a dream come true.
I think it's lovely, and it's been really lovely to see the progress as well. I know how hard you guys work.
Yeah, it's been really nice. It's lovely to talk to people like you, or to see people like you, your reactions and your critiques as well of new maps and content who've been there since the very beginning.
Yeah,
It's not that we don't appreciate new perspectives, but it's always interesting to see the OG's reactions,
yeah,
you know?
because like
Um,
I've got to say, this map whooped us when we first got it. I was like, damn, this
we
is
were
really
hoping
hard.
We were kind of hoping it would. We had this idea from the beginning that we wanted to make the game hard. Understandably, it's a multiplayer online game. A lot of people play it casually with friends, and people will obviously come up and say, we find it difficult, just a group of us playing it for fun. Can you add some easier modes, or can you make it a bit easier? And Joe's just there literally saying, nope, I'm going to make it harder.
I have to agree with Joe
Yeah,
because I
it's
think,
worked out.
yeah, gaming for platinum. So yeah, he says he's still waiting on the Barbie Ultimate Dreamhouse map. I mean, that should definitely be a thing.
Do not tempt us.
What I wanted to know is people have been asking about a new map already, which I find
Yeah,
hilarious.
we're already well underway with our next map now.
Underway for the next map. That makes me so
Yeah.
happy. I wanted to know, with the cultist, would you be using the Watchers
Yeah.
map? Because I think
Oh.
because that would be so cool. I mean, I've spoken about it before,
Yeah.
and there's a
It's
few.
it's definitely not ruled out.
It's not
It's
ruled out, so it's
definitely
not a no,
Yeah, it's
not a yes.
definitely been a lot of talk over time of the idea of bringing the Watchers back in at some
Yeah,
point.
because it would
In
really
general.
meld it. Because that map was fucking hard. But I think for the cultists, it's the only place you can go with them. That's for
Exactly.
me.
Yeah.
And there's people are saying we need an Egyptian pyramid map. How I don't know how that would fit in with the characters.
I suppose you kind of could do that to an extent because the story isn't the main focus of the game.
Yeah.
We knew it wouldn't be, and it's about just having fun with friends. So we don't want to be too drawn in with just random ideas. We want it to make sense to some extent. But funnily enough, we actually, when we first came up with some ideas for the first map, we thought of doing classic kind of under the pyramids, creepy
Nice.
sort of like tombs and things. At that point, we just didn't have the resources
also
to make that.
yeah, because that's not easy. The thing is as well, it like you say, it's all got to kind of match the theme. And there's so
Good,
many
yeah.
talks of what a couple of people have said, Devour Queen Skin when. I know I wind you up every time. I feel bad for Hannah.
She winds me up constantly.
I do it all the time. Like before,
No, I love it. It's great.
It was content creator role, which I never ever in a million years did ever think would happen. But then it was like the to get the robe. So like obviously you must have seen. I know you saw on Twitter. I literally put my logo over the
I love
beta
it. It's
tester.
great.
I was like, that's really easy. Like, Joe can do that. I mean, I have a PowerPoint presentation ready to email him. That's the easiest one to do. I know other people have like they've
Yeah.
drawn robes and stuff, which I think is amazing. And I love it.
Yeah, we love seeing stuff like that. It's great.
I love seeing the artwork. Like when you do the art competitions, when I see it, I love pointing it out to people in the inn. And obviously now in the slaughterhouse, I'm like, look at that. That was like fan
Yeah,
art.
I saw
think
you
it's
doing that on
fab.
the stream last night. Actually, that was really nice.
Yeah, I love the little touches like that.
It's
Prides
nice actually
myself
to
on.
hear that, because obviously, sort of like I was saying, you know, Devour isn't a game that's story heavy, but obviously we want there to be some lore in there.
Yeah.
And you know, it's really nice to sort of hear and see that a significant number of players really enjoy seeing those little details and that they notice them, you know,
I mean,
because I think they can kind of add up a little bit.
It does. You notice all the little things, and I notice, and I'm really bad for it now. So if I play any other indie horror games, and I go, "Oh, that's the Devour wallpaper from the farmhouse," or "That's the Devour," because you obviously I'm like,
You have a
I'm
lot of the same
happy.
assets.
Yeah. So I'm like, I get really excited. I'm like, okay, I can do this now. It's just like Devour has that in there, so that feels like home. I'm good. I'm not gonna die. I mean, I usually do die. Let's face it.
It's all right. I can sympathize.
So what will happen when you've used all the characters? This is a big thing, because we're like,
okay, yeah.
we want you to get the maps out, but we appreciate that takes time. But we're like, okay, we've only got a few characters left. What will happen then? Like, that's scary.
That's a good question. I'll be honest and say that, I mean, how many characters have we got now playable? 8.
Yeah.
That's not necessarily how many there's going to be in total in terms of playable characters. We might add more playable characters, which would mean more playable map, hopefully. Not to give too much away, there's definitely the possibility that we'll add maps, or at least one map, or possibly more, that aren't necessarily connected to a character. So yeah, don't worry too much.
I'm not going to worry yet.
By the looks of it, there's plenty to come.
So it's really cool. There's loads of people like in chat chatting away. Played the new map last night for the first time. It was terrifying and worth the wait. So there was a big thing. Obviously, you guys did push back, which is fine. I mean, I was like bummed, but I also really understood it, because I'm like, I don't want you putting out stuff if you're not ready. Like,
I fully understand the first. I mean, I think all of us do. You know, we all, you know, everybody within the core team is serious gamers themselves. You know, we were talking about this before we went live on the stream, weren't we, about having ADHD?
Yeah.
And I'm very impatient when it comes to wanting something like that. I've not got a good sense of time, and I get it. Like, I get the need to play the thing that you're looking forward to, and the disappointment when it gets delayed and so on. But I think, especially now doing it as a job, understanding how much goes into the development, there are things that can't be sort of rushed, if that makes sense. You know, someone's work can only begin when someone else's ends. You know, it gives them the work that they need to do. You know, if you have any team members that are part of we're a small team, technically speaking, still, for the amount of players we have and the fan base. If you have any core members of the team that are struggling with ill health for some reason, that's going to affect the whole process.
Yeah, because because you're just kind of just so like, you're interwoven with what you do, and it's
absolutely
so true.
And it's unavoidable.
Yeah.
So I mean, the delay was completely unavoidable in that sense, in that even if we'd wanted to, we physically just couldn't. Doing it made us realize that just taking that little bit longer meant that we were able to make something. I think I can safely say for everybody in the team that we're all really, really proud of this map. The extra sort of bit of time, that we were forced into, really made us make something that we're really proud of.
Yeah, so, I mean, I love it. I mean, what is your favorite map though? For me, it's always the farmhouse.
That's a good question. Yours is a farmhouse, isn't it?
Yeah, okay. Always, because I get
it's like
it's home.
Totally get that.
As soon as that coyote goes off, I'm like, I'm home.
You're like, I'm here.
I'm here. Yeah.
I'm the same. I'm a huge Left 4 Dead 2 fan, Left 4 Dead 2 fan. And, I'm the same. I get into Left 4 Dead 2, I get into the hotel map, and I'm like, that's it. I'm home. This is it. I know, it's muscle memory. I know every area of this map. It's great. Yeah. I totally understand it. I have a fondness for the farmhouse for that reason as well. But
I love the farmhouse. It's the only map I won't let anyone touch the keys on.
You won't let anyone touch the keys? I heard you say that.
Yeah, I get really, and I don't mean to, but I'm like,
you're like the key lady?
I know what I'm doing there. I'm like, I've spent a lot of time there. That's my happy spot. Like,
I have a big soft spot for the asylum, just because I, for whatever reason, did quite a lot of work at that point. I think it's a bit like the second album. We were worried that second map wouldn't live up to the first map.
And
we put a lot of work into the concept of it. And I spent a lot of time thinking about Molly herself, because she was a popular playable character. Yes. And I was really worried about how she would come across as a demon, that she would be disappointed disappointing in some way. So I put a lot of time into thinking about how she would move and look and things like that. But
Yeah.
I think for me, the scariest is probably the slaughterhouse, actually.
Yeah, I have to say that what gets me on the slaughterhouse, and I've said this to you, is that bloody maze when you get down.
Yeah,
That,
yeah.
oh my God. I spent,
Took me a long time to work to memorize the map.
so what have you found the hardest thing about the fans of the game who have many opinions? What has made you giggle the most? I won't ask you what's made
It's a
you
good
eye
question.
roll. I know I put so many theories out there when I know there's a new map and I get it
Yeah, that's a
completely
good
wrong.
question.
Uh,
It's funny. It was a big learning curve, obviously. You know, you go from having just very small number of people aware that you exist to a larger number of people, and that's got upsides and downsides.
Mm.
To begin with, it was difficult, I think, for all of us. We all had to. There was a steep learning curve because of the fact that you have a game come out and it goes viral very quickly. So we
Yeah.
went from, well, if we make a bit of money to go out for a beer from this, that's great, to, oh my God, Markiplier is playing our game. The large majority of the feedback we've had has been absolutely fantastic. We are so lucky to have the community we have. You know, yes, okay, we've made a game that we think is fun and good, but the players themselves and the way they respond to it is what makes it and is why we're still here. So we love that. We get so much positivity from all of you guys. But then of course alongside that you do get you get anything, particularly on the internet, are really horrible people. You know,
Yeah.
so at the beginning that was a big surprise in like we had to personally deal with a lot of the horrible messages, the horrible spam on various social media channels. That was a bit of a learning curve for me because I want to react to things like that and I want to go, hey, how dare you? Don't speak about us like that, you know.
I've
But
had
now
to.
it just goes right over our head. I couldn't be less interested or genuinely less bothered. You'd be amazed, particularly as a woman, how often I heard things like, you know, oh, your game's got so much potential if you would only just, you
Oh,
know.
and it's
And it's like, it's okay,
really.
bro, don't worry. That's a big eye roll when people come in and try to backseat develop a game when they don't
Yes.
have any experience themselves. That's probably still the only thing that can be a bit irritating for all of
Yeah.
us. We love it when people come in with really well thought out critiques. If people don't
Yes.
like aspects
Yeah.
of the game or the maps, we would rather that they brought it up and you know, but it's just when people are like, hey, just, you know, just like make more maps. It's not a big deal. It's like,
It's like,
oh
yeah,
yeah.
I'll just go
Oh,
and
I
draw
didn't
it
think of that.
now. Yeah, I could just draw it now. I'll have that ready by 8 o'clock tonight. It's fine. I'll have
Oh
that
yeah.
done. Yeah.
We love all the comedy as well. Like anything that's a meme, anything that's like a funny take in the like the developers chat. Like we send each other like clips and memes that people have made or shared or videos. People don't really know this, but we do actually see a lot of the content and stuff that got people make and that people put
Yeah.
out, tweets and videos and things like that. So we love that.
It is cool. For me, I love, and someone's just said as well, they're consistently surprised at how much fun people still have, and the game is still only like, I
Yes.
think it's $5. So that really important to keep the cost kind of low.
Yeah, to give Joe props for that. He was
Yeah.
the one who really sort of wanted to keep that price low. And part of that is genuinely because it makes it more accessible for people to play around the world. You know, $5 might not sound like much for some people. And we could raise that in line with how many maps we've made, particularly in comparison to other games. And we might do in the future. We might, you know, that's quite a lot for some places.
You know, the
you know?
cost of living, it's gone up a little bit. But then you've also, which I think is really amazing, kept the cost low on buy a skin or any extras.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Buffalo said, if you see this, can you add the question of all the devs ever be adding a function to see your lifetime stats? Would you ever add the function to see your lifetime stats? I dread to see what mine is. I've probably died a million times.
I think this is one of those things that will have definitely come up. It might be somewhere in a long backlog. I think at the moment, probably not, just because of the amount of extra work it would take to implement that. We kind of decided fairly early on, and this is still the feeling, that we want to try to stay away from a sort of an overall tournamenty kind of feel to the game. Obviously, inevitably, you're going to have some of that comparison, right? Like people spend a lot of time on the game. Like they deserve to be able to shout about it, you know? Like they deserve to be able to shout about it.
I get
But like at the same time, we don't want it to turn into a kind of like leaderboards thing. And
like I needed this, and I'm like, as long as I get my robes. I will say though, the 1,000 burning of a books and 1,000 pigs. That was too high. That should have been 500.
That's a rough one.
It's a rough
Yeah,
one.
a lot of yeah, we
Rough.
really wanted to put one in that was a real grind.
It
You
is.
know, we kind of learned early on that we need to put more things in for people to grind, and people had some ideas, and other people were saying, "Oh, but that's so high, nobody will ever do that."
Oh, but they have.
Or
They
nobody will
do.
ever get to level 666 or whatever.
Oh,
And I just said,
Matthews,
"No,
yeah.
no, no, they will. People
Yeah.
will. Definitely they will."
Stunt Mama says also people have been asking about brightness settings because they have a visual
Yeah.
disability and need
Yes,
to be
yeah.
able to adjust brightness.
Yep.
I struggled on the town. I was like, it's got really dark, and I remember someone said to me, "No, it's the same brightness
Yep.
as the farmhouse of the asylum." I was like, "Oh, okay." I was like,
Yeah,
"Damn."
that's a really good question, and it is one that I've seen a couple of times before, particularly on Twitter from accessibility, folk and stuff like that. It's a difficult one because the way our game is sort of run and played is based off of the idea of a visual aspect of
Yeah.
sort of not being able to see certain parts of the map at a distance and things like that. And a lot of sort of the atmosphere of the horror comes from that. So we have talked about it, and so far we've sort of decided to keep it the way it is. That's not to say that that won't change in the future. It's definitely always a question that we talk about. And we're aware that absolutely, if you have sight issues or you're partially sighted and you're going to want to play the game, that's going to make it a lot, or maybe even impossible for you to play. And we don't want the reaction to be, oh, I just can't play it. I mean, do you know what I mean? That's not what accessibility is about. So I absolutely get it. And we don't want to intentionally push people who could be playing it out of the game.
Yeah.
But sort of the way that we started with the game at the very, very beginning was with this idea that darkness would be a big part of the game.
Yeah.
And I guess in a way we're sort of
it's a really hard one,
by not giving that option. So I get that. But then if we start adding that option in, we're sort of taking away a bit of what was a really important part of our game for us. So it is a difficult question, but I'm really glad that someone asked that question, because it is something we think about, and it's probably the biggest accessibility question that we talk about. So if it is to change, or if we're to add that option in for people to play it differently, we'll definitely let everybody know.
Buffalo wanted to ask. So in multi, if you put medkits off, you get 50% extra XP, but in solo,
yes, that's right.
you don't have the option to turn it off.
Have that option, yeah. I know it's difficult. It's part of the whole balance of solo versus multiplayer play. And there are a significant minority of people that really enjoy playing solo and are scarily good at the game solo in a way that I would never be.
It's
and we do want to cater to that to some extent, but our vision is very much like that it's a multiplayer game. So whilst we wouldn't necessarily not put that in, like we would, it's a good idea to put the extra XP. You're right, that person's right. You're not getting that extra XP when you're playing solo, just because you don't have the option to turn the medkits off, right? But that's sort of like it's another thing to put in the game. It's more work, and I know that sounds like a cheap response, but we have a huge backlog, so it is a good idea, and it's noted.
People, they're like, oh, I know, like Matthews, bless him, he wants his own special rank or cult title because he's been stuck at max rank for over a year. Now, the only thing my only issue I feel that will come up is if you give it to one, then you've got to give it to everyone who gets to that rank.
That's the thing, unfortunately. We have people, who play the game like you, and who we know have sort of like achieved really cool things, and we talk about it. We go, oh, it's amazing, they did this, they did that. But it's difficult for us to kind of, like you say, once we do it for one person, that a lot of other people go, what about this and what about that?
I mean, I'm still always going to ask for a DayWalkerEm because or a grave. Yeah, you could put my name on a gravestone. That would be fine. I've said that in the town. I mean, I have declared the unknown grave as mine. I go, no, that's mine. It's unknown. I'm going to change my name to
I remember
unknown.
that. I remember.
Yeah, I still say it every time I play. I'm like, that's my grave.
If you look really, really close,
really closely, you can see it.
DayWalker.
Just there, slightly. The initials are there. I think I've bought about 100 copies of this game and given it out. I think since
I know you're the best. Seriously though.
And so I'm like, if there was to be that, I mean, this is more for Joe. I know it's not for you, Hannah. I know you'd be like, yeah, let's just do it. And I do have a PowerPoint presentation to email him, which you can pre-warn him. I will.
Absolutely do it.
And with reasons why. I mean, I would buy all of my friends the DayWalker like 100%. I'd be like, if it's because it's so cheap as well, I'd just be like, you have a robe and you have a robe. He doesn't need to change much because we can see on the screen it's the hoodie which, you know, we it doesn't take much just to change that. Add a little crown on top. I mean, that's all I'm saying. Like,
I'll just clip this little bit of the stream.
yeah. What has surprised you most about making Devour? What has been the highlights and what has been some low points?
That's difficult, actually. I think the hardest part from I'm gonna say just for me personally,
Yeah.
working with the delay for the last map.
Mm.
It's difficult when you're a gamer yourself and you don't want to disappoint people to put that news out there. That was difficult.
Yeah.
And just trying to manage doing the map in a slightly different way. So that was hard, but a good challenge. Not
Yeah.
necessarily a bad thing, but difficult. For me, the best part is literally just watching people enjoy playing the game. Like you, like everybody. That is easily the best part.
New T, what's the most impressive thing you've seen someone do in Devour? Mine was seeing Spartan when, well, Carnage, seeing him do the solo run with no flashlight on the asylum. That was
insane. I have to admit, I think that, and I know he did other similar runs, but the one that sticks in my mind is when I first saw him doing a no flashlight solo run. I think it was on Nightmare possibly, and the thought that the idea of that hadn't even entered my mind. I love when people do things like that and they just think of different ways to challenge themselves in any game. It's not something that I'm not very good at doing that kind of thing. I like to play games on like normal. The only games I play on like, you know, the absolute hardest possible difficulty levels are ones that I've played far too much of, like Left 4 Dead. But most games, you know, no way. So that, I mean, even the rest of the dev team, we were all just watching, you know, that stream through, just going, crazy. What the hell? How is that even possible?
That was pre-batteries as well, but also he just didn't turn the light on either.
I just saw a comment as well saying mine was when his team beat the farmhouse in less than 4 minutes. I have to say some of the speed runs are super impressive as well.
I tried to do a speed run on Asylum, with Posty. She's awesome. And we were really pleased. We got like 11 minutes on the Asylum. We were like, holy shit, this is amazing.
That is good.
We went to
really
the speed runner thing. Yeah, no, they'd done it in like 7 minutes. And we were like, stop that. Like, we're not trying that again. That was my speed running days. They lasted for about a week.
I love it when people, especially love it when people have their own little names for things in the game. You know, like when you play any game regularly particularly with like a partner, if it's like couch co-op or like friends online, and you just develop your own little memes around it and your own little ways of referring to things that nobody else understands. I love that.
Yeah, it's been really funny because like when we came up with the Health Shack, the night that we came up with that, I think we even had a song for it. We were in such good moods. We were just like, this is amazing. And then I had a few, and then I was really worried. I'm like, if they watch this, they may take this away. But then I'm like, I don't want to show it because I don't want everyone else to use it. And then it makes the game easy. Do you know what I mean? I'm very aware.
Totally know what you mean.
Yeah, because I don't.
You want to keep those secrets for yourself sometimes.
Well, yeah. I did want you to play tonight. But I knew you wouldn't.
See, it goes back to that thing. I was tempted. I was tempted with the farmhouse, but it goes back to that thing of, you know, if any of us start playing online with people or doing things like this, you get a lot of people asking.
Then it's not going to end.
Really, you know, some of the others are much better at this than me. I'm very bad at saying no to people. So
I know, and it does. It opens the floodgates, and again, I mean, I always joke again about the DayWalker Robe thing, but I also know that would open up a lot of the floodgates. I mean, but as the only official content creator, I think
I was going to say,
cool.
But there is there's a little bit of a get out clause with that, though.
There is, So we're going to make sure you pitch that to Joe. I need to ask as well, goat onesie. If I didn't ask,
I'd completely forgotten about that.
You forgot about the goat onesie. I hadn't, you see.
Completely forgotten about it. It's definitely, do you know what? That's got to go on the list. I'm making a note of it right now.
Goat onesie. And are you blown away by how popular the game is?
We're just blown away. Absolutely blown away. I mean, the fact that we joked when we first sort of went to start developing Devour after the Watchers and sort of went, wouldn't it be funny if pipe dream we got to do this, all of us as a job, you know? And that was the absolute limit of the imagination of like what this could lead to. And we are all doing it as a job, and it's literally a dream job. So,
It's
you know,
amazing. I mean,
absolutely love it.
I personally want to thank you guys for the belief in me.
That's really kind.
Because one thing that keeps me sort of level-headed is knowing that I also represent you guys as well. So when I have
Yeah.
people coming for my crown or people giving me digs and so, and I have to go, actually, no, it's cool. Like, I'm not going to
Yeah. I
respond.
mean,
I'm
you
just
know,
gonna,
like
you know.
you were joking earlier about, oh, you know, oh yeah, bugging about the robe. Oh, I bugged you about being content creator.
Yeah.
I mean, in all seriousness, it might be fairly new to us, but at the same time, we're not going to make decisions but like lightly. So we
Yeah.
talked a lot about content creation and who we want to do it, and we asked you for that reason, you know. So you're here for a reason.
It's honestly, New T asks, is Slaughterhouse possible without batteries? I don't think it is either because you can't
Oh,
kill the
yeah,
bone
that's a good
man.
question, actually. I haven't tried that
Because you
myself
can't
in
kill, you need the
playtesting.
UV to kill the bone man to get the bone to give to the pig. So
That's the thing. It's the first time we've ever had that, the UV that
yeah,
is be part of a necessity for the ritual, if that makes sense.
yeah, and that threw me as well. I was like, oh my god, what am I doing?
We knew, yeah,
Give
we absolutely
bones.
knew before we
Oh,
decided to make
and
the
the
bone
pools
part of
of
it.
blood. Hello,
That was a bit of a later addition, but
that is a genius, but also I die a lot, so I've
really
had to
cruel.
really pay attention to where I die.
Yeah, because you're going, oh wait, what's going on? Am I getting like, you know? And then it's like, oh no, I'm gonna
Yeah.
pull.
Um.
It is cruel.
First step in the event, I had no clue what was happening. Yeah, I feel that it caught a lot of us off guard, but
Be interesting to know
it's
actually
nice.
what people in chat or just in general think about the vents
Yeah, what do you
you know,
guys think
used
of the
in the
vents? Because
slaughterhouse.
you've changed the thing as well. Because you did have to crouch down, and now it
Yeah,
automatically
we felt that
crouches you.
crouch just wasn't, it was just there because we wanted the characters to have a range of motion, you know, but then there's it's a bit sneaky and cheeky really when it's not really useful. So we deliberately made this map a bit like, you know, Purgatory has some crouch, you know, need
Everyone
to crouch
says
in it.
that
And
the auto crouch is a godsend. They love the vent
yeah,
idea.
yeah, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
I really enjoyed it because it was just a new twist on it, and so for me it was like,
It's
because
so good. I
it's
loved watching the playthrough, the recorded playthrough. It was brilliant. So funny.
honestly.
I just loved at the end of the recorded of the playthrough, everyone's like, "Oh, yeah, we finally did it! Oh, thank God!" And Gaming for Plans, he was just there, just like, oh.
Yeah, like
He
oh
wasn't
my
even
god,
excited. He took like 10 seconds to just be like, "Oh my God!" And
because
then he
it
was
took
like,
so
"Yeah, we did
long.
it."
We didn't
So
because
funny.
we're so used to like doing the maps pretty easily. So like I genuinely thought that we would. So like on the town, we did the Steam recording. That was like we just spent about 2-3 hours on that. And then I went straight into live stream and went to about 2 in the morning till we got all the ropes. I thought this was going to be another, not easy, but I was like, a good 9 hours, we've got this. We'll knock these robes out. It'd be
Mhm.
really simple. And oh my God, it took us so long just to get a win that I was like, I am never going to be able to do this.
But then you do, right? That's the nice thing. It's like learning a map, isn't it? Like you were saying, you think you're never going to be able to learn a new map.
Because we were like,
And
this
then you
is
do.
like, oh my God, the map. And everyone was
I
like, oh
was
my God, the
exactly the
map's
same in
huge.
playtesting. I've got a really bad sense of direction. Absolutely horrifically bad.
See, the thing is, everyone was like, oh my God, this map is huge. And it's not. I mean, it is a big map, but it's not.
It's not big.
It's
No, it's
not a big
deceptive.
map. And
I
we
mean,
all
yeah.
thought, genuinely, because obviously we had seen the floor layout, we're like,
Yeah.
this is going to be easy. Like, this
Yeah,
is this
because
isn't
it looks
difficult.
quite
It looks,
formulaic and
yeah, it looks
structured.
really structured.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I was in for a shock. I was like, this isn't easy.
We've realized that, you know, it's nice to have, you know, it felt sort of fun to have those open spaces and make it feel more like a kind of, well, like a Left 4 Dead 2 map or something.
Yeah.
But actually, we were getting a lot of feedback from the community that suggested, whilst, you know, people seem to have all different favorite maps, a lot of the sort of the horror that people felt and the fear that people felt was coming out of those claustrophobic spaces. So we just sort of went, okay, like we should just, it's good to do new things, but also there are things that work.
Yeah, I mean, son, yeah, when we turned the corner and we were eaten by pigs. Yeah, Pumbas.
Yeah.
Or like just in case
Pumbas.
Disney.
I love that you called them that, by the way.
Just in case
I was
Disney
literally
are around,
laughing
though.
about that last night.
If Disney's ever around, it's Tumba to cover ourselves, so we're not
Tumba,
like
yeah.
Tumba or
Oh, it's
Pumba.
brilliant.
So
Yeah.
I'm gonna be really cheeky. Can you say, or can you? Who's gonna be the next map? You probably can't even say that.
Oh, Ooh. We'll
Can you
tell
give?
people when we can. We'll tell people when we can.
I'm like,
I mean, there's
"Oh."
not a lot of choice. I mean, there is some choice left,
There is
but
some choice.
I really enjoyed
Professional.
answering questions. I'm gonna have to head in a
Yes, I
second.
know.
It's okay. It's all good.
I've been looking at the time and I'm like, I know she's
No,
got to
you're
go in a
fine.
minute.
Don't worry.
I know we're gonna lose her in a minute. She's gonna run away.
I know.
She's gonna message Joe and be like, oh, we're gonna have to give her that rope. That's what she's gonna do.
She just won't stop. Expect a PowerPoint coming soon to your inbox. So.
This was really cool. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I really appreciate that Hannah's come on and we've taken
Thank you
Friday night.
for asking me and having me, and thank you for the questions. They're really nice questions, really good ones actually. And
good.
just saying, I've not been able to sort of like obviously say hello to everybody who's in chat, but I've been kind of keeping an eye and looking at people jumping in. A lot of names I recognize, obviously. So hello and thank you. You know, literally, I know I've said it and I probably said it in various other places, but you guys literally are the reason that we're doing this, and it's going to be happening for a long time yet, hopefully. So thank you for your support.
Buffalo has one last question. Go on.
One last one. Go for it. One last question.
DayWalkerEm Robe. No, that's not the question. Sorry, that's not. Last question is: do the devs think in the future of the game there'll be maybe add robes to represent each of the final ranks? Like, yeah. So like the fallen angel.
I see what they're saying. Yeah. Okay, cool. We actually did talk recently because a few people had asked about robes for solo achievements, which is a kind of a similar thing in a way. Then that it's a possibility, but again, we don't want to go too far down the route of like sort of like high XP means like you get all the cool items and stuff like that. I get that you do want to reward players for putting more time into your game, but at the moment probably not.
Send them a box of chocolates.
Yeah,
I only say that because I know I won't get the solo robes, and I'll be really upset if I can't get them. I'll be like, no, don't make me solo.
I would be the same. It's definitely not out of the question. It's definitely not out of the question that we'll add some, particularly sort of not like a cosmetic, like an outfit, but a cool robe. It's definitely been talked about that we might do that for like certain like solo achievements and stuff. So
badge. So maybe they could have like an actual badge on their character.
That like that, or like a robe, or like stunt saying like extra XP and things. Like, well, that's always sort of in discussion. Yeah.
So Buffalo Town, I'm also making Devour XP database for the community. Will it be fine if I send it through to the devs? I wouldn't send it directly to the devs. I would put it into the Discord, just because they have their things switched off, so not anyone can just message, and that's not because they're being rude, but otherwise it opens the floodgates for everybody and his mother to message. Like, I still can't message, I think it's Joe in there. I can message him.
No, he's got a lot going on.
Yeah, which is absolutely understandable. But definitely put it in the Discord and like put it in.
Yeah, and if there's any, we obviously can't reply to everything because even our admin is, small sort of number of people doing admin, and they're also developers most of the time as well. But there is also our sort of main support address, which is support@straightbackgames.co.uk. So if there's ever any sort of major issues or questions or suggestions, you can also email us there. We might not always be able to get back to you immediately, but usually you'll get a response if it's not something sort of like, hey, can I have a free key? Those just get deleted usually. But if it's like a serious question like that, then usually, we'll be able to get back to you. So
that would be really cool, Witchy. So a badge next to their name. I think I should be able to get like crown above my name at all times. That would be really cool. But that's just my personal opinion. With the robe, I'm going to keep mentioning the robe.
Gonna slip the robe in.
Right, I will let you go because I know we're only supposed to get an hour.
No, you're all good. Don't worry.
We could talk all night long, but seriously, thank you so much for joining. It really does.
Seriously, my pleasure.
And but I will come and fly up and see you guys soon. Like
yes, you definitely have to.
Yeah, for sure.
Thanks, Em.
No, thank you.
I really enjoyed it. Thanks, everyone. Take care.
Take care. Bye, my
lovely. Talk to you soon. Bye. Bye.